Oh yeah, this is good. Y'all know Joe Chapman. Y'all know my Uncle Joe? Raise your hand if you knew Joe. You're gonna love this. But back to True Confessions. This is talking about, this is the chapter somewhere south of Macon, which I just sang, has that line, I first made love in a cotton mill town. Well, I didn't first make love in a cotton mill town. I just thought that sounded good. Truth is, I first made love in New York City, but for a Southerner, that doesn't count. And you can get your virginity back. But back to True Confessions. I didn't first make love in a cotton mill town either. The first time I made love was in an apartment in New York. Just tell it all, Marshall. An apartment in New York City on East 63rd Street between 1st and York. The summer I was 21. That's waiting pretty long, I think. Showing restraint. But I did one time take a baby step toward making love in a cotton mill town. At least it started out in one. In Inaree, South Carolina, to be exact. I was 15 and had gone to visit Frances Yarborough, my best friend from childhood. I was staying with my Aunt Susan and Uncle Joe, who lived right across the street from the Yarboroughs. Frances had made arrangements for me to double date with her and her boyfriend, Stanley Kelly. And I was pretty excited about it. Mainly because my date was Tuck Patterson, who happened to be 2 years older and drove a 1964 blue and white Ford Galaxy convertible. But more importantly, Tuck was considered a cute boy, Bowie, by my older sister, Mary. This would be my first real unchaperoned date in a car. The four of us took off in Tuck's convertible and didn't stop until we got to the Greer Drive-In, about 20 miles north of Inaree. The evening's feature was Kissin' Cousins, starring Elvis Presley. As I recall, Elvis played two different characters in the movie, which we ended up sitting through twice. Maybe the title inspired us, I don't know, but by the second showing, there was a lot of kissing going on in that convertible, which by now had its top and windows rolled up for better acoustics, I'm sure. Now, I was very inexperienced when it came to boys. I had, quote, made out a few times with my old boyfriend, George Dickerson. We had mostly kissed, but quite frankly, it all seemed like a big bother to me. I much preferred playing basketball. Hell, I enjoyed homework more than making out. I just could not understand what the big deal was. But on this night with Tuck, things were different. When he kissed me, I started feeling things I'd never felt before, and it kind of scared me. So I backed off. Besides being real cute, Tuck was a real sweetheart, so he didn't press me or anything. We just talked after that. And with Frances and Stanley still kissing in the back seat, we continued to talk and talk and talk. We ended up talking about everything under the sun, including the Bible, which Tuck said he enjoyed reading from time to time. 7 years isn't bad. Later that night, Aunt Susan asked me how it went. Oh, it was fine, I gushed. I'd had 3 or 4 Cokes, so I was pretty hopped up. Susan didn't seem like she was ready for bed either, so the two of us ended up talking. I told her all about Kissin' Cousins, how Elvis had played the 2 different characters, one a moonshiner, the other an emissary who'd been sent by the U.S. Army to convince the moonshiner and his hillbilly cronies to let the government use their land for a missile launch site. Aunt Susan sat there listening like she was enthralled. Then the subject turned to Tuck. Now, Aunt Susan was the kind of person you could trust with your heart. So maybe that's why I told her that Tuck and I had kissed, and that was all. But in talking about it, I suddenly started crying. Probably puberty kicking in, fueled by all the sugar from all those Cokes I did. Anyway, at one point, I remember blurting out, "Well, he bought me a hamburger and a Coke." I felt like I had to kiss him after that. When Susan went back up to bed, it turned out Joe had waited up for her. "What was that all about?" he asked. After Susan told him, Joe didn't say anything. He just turned out the light. But moments later, as they lay there in the dark, Susan was thinking maybe Joe had fallen asleep when she heard, "Damn, it's a good thing he didn't buy her a steak." Does that gel with your memory? Can I have an amen, Aunt Susan? Isn't growing up a trip? No road map. You just got to do it.